Because Max Hysteria is kind of cool. Put an umlaut over the X, which doesn't make any sense. You should do that.
We do.
Oh, good. Yeah. Are you ready?
Never.
Well, nice knowing you, I guess. Never ready. Never ready. All right. John Peckman Podcast, Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge, pull a Yui, park in front of the music store with the red neon light. We're a music store. We have music lessons. We have vinyl. We have all kinds of things here. And today we have singer, guitar player, Dan Eurysm.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing all right.
We met minutes ago.
Minutes.
I don't know anything about you, about this. This is going to be, I like these when it goes like this. It's going to be a voyage of discovery.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So you know Morgan, is that correct?
Morgan is my cousin.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. Morgan, who makes everything better around here. This is Morgan's cousin. Now I know two things.
All right.
All right. Tell me more.
Tell you more. Where do we start? The beginning, perhaps?
Sure. Why not?
Well, I was, when I spoke to Dave, he said, do you have a musical journey to discuss? I mean, absolutely.
Oh, good.
Let's see. When I was young, my father was in a band.
Yeah.
A rather notorious local punk band.
Ooh.
Eventually turned into satanic metal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That happens.
And it always sounds a lot more evil than it is. It's more like the WWE professional wrestling. It's more about the show and the shock.
Sure.
I mean, that goes all the way back to Screaming Jay Hawkins, basically.
Right. Totally.
And I always found stage performance, rather enamoring. I didn't get to see any of his shows until much later in life, but I get to see some band practices, and it was a very particular world. All this equipment that's around us right here at the moment, I'm very used to. It's been around all my life, microphones and mixing boards and instruments and such. And it didn't really become personal, the music. I was into music. Starting in third grade, I played the violin.
And you grew up where?
In East Hartford.
Okay. All right.
I started off playing the violin and then eventually the French horn. I picked up a little trumpet along the way. Forgot most of that along the way. And music became intensely personal at two specific moments to me. Number one, video games.
Oh, boy.
The original Nintendo Entertainment System had a very limited set of synthesizers in it. And the way the bass lines, the melody, and then the harmony.
Yeah.
It blew my mind, the way it could have the harmony could have such a profound effect with two or three operators.
What level, what level were you at on what game that had the harmony?
I think I
never got to harmony level.
It might have been Super Mario, the very first, do. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, sure.
But the way that the bass interoperated with that, and then the harmony would change the otherwise simple melody of it. I was obsessed with it.
What about?
That's another one. That's another absolutely amazing one. Yeah. And so I had a technical obsession with music at that point and experience playing, but it became very emotional and personal once I became a teenager. I think it's a pretty common thread among human beings.
Sure.
And I got into music and had music that was mine. And it wasn't just that one Anthrax B-side album that was full of swears. 11-year-olds love things full of swears.
Yeah.
But it actually became emotional, and all of the music theory that I'd learned up until that point, as soon as I got a guitar, it just went out the window entirely.
Right.
And I'm mostly trained by ear at this point.
The Maiko guitar.
Yes. So my very first guitar, I begged, borrowed, and stole when I was 12 years old to get my very first guitar. It was a Maiko, and I saw the very same guitar out on the floor as soon as I walked into the shop here.
That's heavy.
And I want you to put that aside. I'm coming for it.
Some things never change.
Yeah. Well,
I wonder if that's a new one or whether they're just still floating around.
That's the first one I've seen. Or the second one I've ever seen.
You still have it?
I still have it. The electronics need a lot of work. It's had. I played guitar battle axes with it. It's been thrown on and off stage. It's been puked on. Beer's been spilled on it. Sure. Cigarettes have been put out. Someone smashed the cheeseburger into the headstock at one point, so there's rotting cheese on it for a couple of years. There's spray paint and stickers, and not a single original screw is on there, and only the least amount of screws necessary to hold it together at this point.
Sure. Well, you could start over.
Yeah, I'm going to frame that one.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, I've got plenty of guitars.
That's funny. Can you imagine? Blank slate.
Yeah.
Just take it off the wall and just puke on it first thing. Just be like, all right,
We've already seen the direction that one can go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So then the next progression. So once I became a crappy guitarist, I became a crappy bassist, a crappy drummer.
Oh, cool.
And I'm just putting all the pieces together. So then I got a crappy 4-track and I started crappy producing.
Sure.
And I had a fantastic time doing it. And that's when even more of those obsessions, like my obsession with harmony and melody, and what I would eventually learn is called the beat frequency. You know, the difference between them both, started just overwhelming me. Like inversions of audio waves. When someone pointed out, hey, if you wire that speaker that's in the same box as that speaker backwards, you're not going to hear anything. I didn't believe him.
Yeah, right.
Then I did it. I saw it and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Physics.
Crazy. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, that happens. I'm not even going to talk about. I can't talk about the crazy matrix I'm falling into right now, trying to figure something out. But it would take too long. But maybe we'll get back to it if you run out of stuff. I don't know.
No, absolutely.
All right, cool. So what are you doing these days?
These
know about?
Yeah, these days I'm in a local punk band. We've been playing for about 20 years now.
Wow.
We go by. It's spelled Max, Max Hysteria. It's pronounced Mass Hysteria. We went by that for 20 years. When it comes to punk bands, Mass Hysteria is a pretty popular choice. We figured, let's just outlive them.
Yeah.
We've outlived most of them.
Yeah.
There was one ska band in Massachusetts called Mass Hysteria.
Okay.
And we were sometimes accidentally, and I think a couple times intentionally booked in their stead.
Oh, no.
To draw a crowd.
Oh, boy.
So there's a couple times at the Webster where we'd be coming out on stage as the headlining act at a ska show. It made very little sense to me, but whatever.
Yeah.
Place is packed. I'm going to play.
Yeah.
And the crowd was getting amped up when we were tuning our guitars, when we were doing the sound check. And then as soon as we stared playing, the mood dropped to the floor.
Like, this ain't ska.
They thought we were techs. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
But it was just an SEO, search engine optimization nightmare. You couldn't find us on the internet at all. The biggest problem, and I thought the first one that would go away, was there was a French metal band called Mass Hysteria. And I figured they're going to go away. But last I heard, they were touring with Metallica, so we decided we are Mass Hysteria, spelled Max Hysteria. Available on Spotify and all the other music services. The 3 tracks we've managed to put together.
Huh. That's cool. In how many years?
20 years. We have far more songs. We wanted this iteration of the band. Me and the bassist have been there the whole time, but we've gone through some drummers, and we finally got a keeper. We like this one.
Cool. That's cool.
And so what we release, we want to reflect what we are now and should be moving forward.
Sure. That's cool. Mass Hysteria. And then if someone says Max Hysteria, you correct them, right?
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not at all.
Because Max Hysteria is kind of cool.
It has roughly
way.
the same vibe to it, and X's are always cool.
Yeah. Put an umlaut over the X, which doesn't make any sense. You should do that.
We do.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Be sure to check out Subsidized by Crime by Max Hysteria with the umlaut over the X.
Perfect. Yeah.
On Spotify and all the other streaming services.
Beautiful. Why? No other.
No other?
Yeah. Did you say no other?
I don't recall.
Okay. I thought you said it's on Spotify and no other streaming service.
All other streaming services.
All other.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you said no other, and I was like, I wonder what that's all about.
No.
Okay.
We don't even want to be there. We find it, the amount of money we've made off of Bandcamp has been ridiculous compared to what we've made off of Spotify. I think we're up to $148 for the past year on Spotify, and we've probably gotten 600 or 700 of donations. We give our stuff away for free on Bandcamp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know what to think about all that. That's a whole other conversation. I wouldn't want to try to make a living selling music. I don't think.
No.
You know,
it's ridiculous. How old are you?
58.
Okay, I'm 46.
Okay.
So we have a very similar familiarity with what rock stardom or even just being a working musician used to mean compared to nowadays. That's out the window. I mean, when I was 19 years old, I knew that the band I was in, we were going on a tour. I'm like, all right, this is my last shot. This is a young man's game.
Yeah.
Even when the game existed back then.
Right, sure.
And,
Sure.
and now you hope to get a viral hit and that you don't get completely forgotten about. But hey, at least you got the viral hit and a pittance in your pocket.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to know what to think about it. Yeah, I don't. I'm still trying to understand it. Luckily, I don't care that much, for whatever reason. But yeah, I see people with like a couple of million hits on YouTube, and I don't know what that means. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it means. Although, I will say, I guess, just as an artist or something, I guess if 1 million people put their eyes on what you were doing, that's kind of cool. That's
Yeah.
more than. Do you know what I'm saying?
As an artist, that's all
Right.
I'm looking for. I gave up
Right.
on the I'm doing this for a living thing
Sure.
decades ago at this point.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I'm with
yeah,
you.
it's all about the art.
Right. So
It's all about the art or the message or whatever the music means to you. I mean,
I guess at that point, if you look at it that way, then it is cool. Because like you say, in the past, you could play your original songs at your bar gig, and
Yeah.
you will reach tens of people, maybe.
yeah.
But if it's on YouTube and 1,000 people like that, that's more people than would have ever liked it if you played it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know what it means.
Yeah, you go back decades further, and then there were the standards. Everyone played the same exact cover songs.
Right. Yeah, it's true. That's true. All right. So take us back to the, you say you were, because I interrupted the history to kind of ask you what you're doing now. So go back to, you got the Maiko. Well, like when did you zero in on guitar, or it was just like you found other players because you were like you kind of played a little bit of everything.
I wanted to play guitar. I started in middle school. We actually had guitar classes in my middle school.
Oh,
I took it 2 years in a row, failed both times. I was playing it with it was a classical acoustic on my lap, just using my thumb on one string.
Right.
A habit which I still have.
I do that. It's called a dulcimer. I
Yeah.
play dulcimer. It's just 3 strings, and you play it on your lap.
Yeah, to this day, I still have that bad habit of wrapping my thumb around the neck, but
Oh wow.
it helps, with some of the other bad habits I have.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Sure.
So I started there, and I want to play guitar. That's the cool instrument. Then I got one, and I was humbled for a good year or two.
Yeah.
And all that music training, all the sight reading I used to be able to do meant nothing and is long forgotten at this point.
Yeah.
But eventually I picked up enough. I consider them dirty tricks. Some people think I'm a really good guitarist. I think it's just a really clever collection of dirty tricks.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
6-pack of one, half a 12-pack of another. It's roughly the same deal.
Right. Sure.
And I picked up bass because, like many musicians my age, Primus was really big at the time. And Les Claypool, say what you want about his personality or what it's become, a phenomenal bassist.
What's his personality lately?
I don't know. He seems like a bit of a jerk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't pay attention.
And I'm also not a fan of the newer music for the past 25 years or so. But,
Really?
But I picked up a 4-string bass, then I got a fretless 4-string bass, then I got a 6-string bass, and I went through a couple months of learning to tap some songs and stuff like that. I could get back up to a Jerry that was a race car driver or a DMV if I was given an hour or two with a 5-string or a 6-string. But
yeah, that's cool.
mostly I didn't master, but picked up those other instruments because it's not always easy finding a bunch of other musicians who are committed.
Right. That's what I was going to ask.
Who are serious, where the hell can you play drums without someone yelling about it? I mean, it's onerous to say the least.
Yeah.
So I could play drums in my bedroom. I had the 4-track. I had a couple instruments. So I slowly got workable at those.
Yeah. Well, some of my, I'm a drummer. You wouldn't even know, but some of my favorite drummers are not drummers. So it's cool.
Yeah, it gets a job done. And I definitely see things from outside of the box, which it's a strength and a weakness combined. But
yeah,
I was able to write songs. And now to this day, that's mostly how my band writes songs. I pretty much demo something at home. I got a little electronic drum set in my apartment, emulated bass and guitar amps. So I'm 100% in the box. Doesn't sound like it, but I get to bring that to band practice. And instead of trying to
Yeah, yeah.
bring two other guys through this idea I have in my head with a whiteboard and a bunch of confusion. I just say, here, listen to this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And at least one of the guys usually does. So it's 66% of the way there.
That's cool. Always a 3-piece band?
Yeah, I would love a second guitarist because I love the huge fill that you get from that, but also the way you can I love octave leads in a harmony. Usually a simple harmony,
Sure.
The fifth, the seventh, third, depending. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I know it's on point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it sounds good.
But finding someone that doesn't just complicate, if nothing more than the logistics alone. Like being an adult, having a full-time job and perhaps a girlfriend, a wife, kids, anything like that, and then being able to make time for that, the expense of everything involved, the amount of gas involved, the amount of personalities involved.
Yeah.
I've often told people who don't quite understand the band dynamic, it's like having a couple more girlfriends. If you have to give it that level of seriousness, of consideration, of thoughtfulness. Otherwise, it's going to blow up. I mean, some of the biggest bands in history are known for their drama and not being able to get back in the same room together.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's what they say. Yeah. I've always had a bunch of girlfriends and then also a band too.
Yeah.
So I know what you mean. Yeah. No, not at all. Yeah. Yeah, I hear all of that. What else? Sorry, I'm spacing out. I mowed the lawn yesterday. And second hottest day of the year. I'm still recovering.
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
I've been complaining about how chilly it's been lately, and
oh really?
I just had a birthday, so I'm a summer baby. So I'm born for this, but this is a bit over the top.
Is that what it is?
Before I got out of the car, it said 105 degrees.
Yeah, not good.
But hey, at least we get blizzards too.
Yeah, no, you know what? I don't complain. I find myself not complaining in the cold weather as much as in the hot weather. I don't know what that means. I never thought about it. I don't know if it's ancestral or where my people are from. Or I don't know, but I don't notice the cold. I just don't notice it. I just get on with it. But the heat, I don't like.
I like the heat. I do not like the cold, but I still just wear shorts and t-shirts and a hoodie all winter.
You're that.
It's not uncommon to find me clearing off my car with my arm wearing nothing but a hoodie and cargo shorts and my boots.
Funny. Wow. Yeah, I've seen those guys.
It's not like I'm trying to prove anything. It's just
you don't mind.
Convenience is everything. Having a change of clothes, even a pair of gloves in the glove compartment, it's like, that's an extra step. I just want to get on with it.
I got you. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Why even clear the car off at that point? You know what I mean?
Oh, laws, basically. I do get a particular kick from just throwing into first gear, gunning it up the road, and then just seeing it fly off and back you.
It is satisfying.
Yeah, but people in back you, especially if they got the blue and reds, not a huge fan of that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. I hear you. Yeah, it is inconsiderate. Yeah. I would. Yeah. Anyway. Sorry, I'm not putting my thoughts together today.
That's quite all right.
You know,
I've got plenty for the room.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Let's see. Something interesting that happened in the past 5 years.
Yeah, tell me something interesting that happened in the last 5 years.
Unfortunately, my father died in 2019. He got skin cancer. So make sure everyone out there, you know your skin cancer ABCs. Get checked out. Anything funny that comes up.
Okay.
It happened really quickly.
Wow.
And I inherited, aside from his massive musical instrument collection, I gave away dozens of guitars. I didn't have room for it anymore. I've given away PAs. I've given away basses, making sure that they're going to people who are going to put them in the studio on stage, or they're learning. They're getting started to make sure they get used for what they're intended for. But another thing that I inherited was his massive record collection.
Oh, hey.
I'm not a vinyl guy.
I am,
and I might be becoming one. But we've got about 1/3 of it up on Discogs when we get the time. And it's looking like it's going to be about 1,500, 1,600 pieces.
Wow.
And no one ever tells you how heavy those things are.
Yeah, they're heavy.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. What kind of stuff?
It's all over the map. Really? I can tell some of the stuff. He was really big into, he loved a good rock star. He was a front man, and he appreciated a really good front man. So sometimes you're like, wait a minute, this guy was in a satanic metal band. He was in a hardcore punk band. And there's all this David Bowie. Yes, there's all this David Bowie.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
All sorts of stuff like that. Screamin' Jay Hawkins.
Yep.
I got some of that on vinyl, which is absolutely
that's cool.
phenomenal.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just so all over the map. Don't even know where to begin. He also liked new wave, goth, early synth and dance and stuff like that.
Wow.
So I've got a ridiculous collection, and then I have 2 huge boxes of just 7 inches, and the few that I've looked up, they're all first pressings or odd in the middle pressings.
Whoa.
Like between the first and the second pressing of bands like the Misfits, Black Flag,
Wow.
stuff like that. And this is, I'm probably going to put up a website for this. There's a lot of local bands that we cannot find any record of.
Oh.
And if they want to send me a cease and desist, I'll take it down. But otherwise, I would like to preserve local, musical history like that.
Sure.
Especially a lot of it was recorded at the Gallery in East Hartford.
Okay.
And that's where my father recorded a bunch of his stuff.
Wow.
The last owner of the Gallery is actually a friend of mine. He bought it and then eventually sold it because people aren't really going to really nice studios with nice live rooms anymore.
Sure.
Because
Sure.
as someone who has a rack that only cost about $1,500 worth of stuff, that could outclass most $1 million studios 40 years ago. I get it.
Yeah. It happens. It's going to happen, unfortunately.
So I do intend on putting up a website just to preserve any of this local oddball stuff.
Hey, that's kind of cool.
Because once it's on the internet will take care of preserving it for you, whether you like it or not.
Right. No, that's a good idea.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of that stuff, and it's a different experience from the way that I consumed music. Started off with mixtapes. I got CDs, appreciated the sound quality increase, but then rapidly got into mix CDs and burning CDs.
Yeah, me too.
And then that just turned into everyone just releases singles now. And if it is an album, it's just a collection of singles. Things just don't seem to flow like they used to.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, I'm like you. Once I started figuring out I could make mixes, I just make my own albums out of, just because I guess, like you say, because of the way we grew up, I still think of things in those terms. But if people aren't always making albums thinking about it like that, you got to make your own.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've always
but
done.
Now that I'm rooting around in all this vinyl that goes back, some of it, I have 78s. Don't even know how to play a 78.
I do.
All right. Well, then we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But I'm listening to all of this music, and the album was an ever-present concept that they probably didn't even realize they were putting so much thought into that we just don't anymore. Because you put on an album, sure, we can say Dark Side of the Moon. That's an obvious one. But pretty much anything. Yeah. There was a lot of thought put into the progression of the songs, even what happens when you get to the end of side A.
Yeah.
It's
for sure.
What's going to is something going to hit you or lull you at the beginning of side B? It's I'm coming to appreciate that. The sound quality, it's a much different quality. Technically, it's higher frequency reproduction than a CD is possible, but you need a pretty system for that. Yeah, I don't think I have that.
No, I don't either. I had a friend deceased now who his family was hi-fi royalty, and he had his own company, and when you hung out with him, he had, I don't know, pick a number, $100 million sound system, stereo, and I would hang out with him, and you listen to the worst music you've ever heard, and it was like hearing God.
Yeah.
And I remember he settled that for me at one point. We were listening to just files, high res files, and I said, so, because I kind of grew up around him, but I didn't always pay attention. And then when I started kind of paying a little bit more attention, I said, well, does vinyl really sound better? And he's like, all right, well, hold on. And any Rumors or something, Fleetwood Mac or whatever. And he played, he says, this is, the second to highest resolution file. And it sounded great. And he goes, this is the highest resolution lossless file that you're going to hear. And it sounded way better. And I was like, this is amazing. And then he went and found a whatever pressing that he had of whatever and cleaned it and did the whole thing and had an $8,000 turntable or whatever. And it was just, it was light years. But I'm never going to get near that.
No.
So theoretically, yeah, but for people like us.
And they had different priorities for mastering back then, like dynamic range.
That's what I'm saying.
Difference between loud and quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I get like a modern pressing of a modern recording, it's like, hey, I got System of a Down on vinyl. I got No Effects on vinyl.
Why
It's
bother?
like, it's cool because it's collectible, but it doesn't have that same like thrown on Black Sabbath. That is just a magical album in vinyl form. And I'm very skeptical of audiophile types, so I applied that same logic to the whole, vinyl records thing. But no, there's a different amount of sparkle. There's a thing emphasis on certain frequencies, and yes, the older ones, they have far more dynamic range. So it's an apples versus Toyotas comparison. It's not even.
Yep, I would agree with that.
If you boil it down to the sheet music, then it's moot. But I thought that was really cool, and that's for someone who's been so heavily involved and invested in music for so long, to the point where chasing a dream. I was living out of a car for a while, and that's not even an uncommon story in the local punk scene.
Sure.
Pretty new to vinyl. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I didn't care, because being old, it was like vinyl was all we knew, and then cassette, and when CDs came, it was like, oh, this is way better.
Yeah,
and then you're like, oh, I can get one in my car, so you're like, okay, this is way better. So I was glad to get rid of vinyl, and then, but I always had some around, and then I don't know, 5-6 years ago, I inherited my uncle's 1958 that he built out of a kit stereo. That when I was a kid, it was always like, don't touch it.
Yeah.
And, he passed away, and my cousins were like, we got the stereo. I'm like, no way. So I got it rebuilt. And for me, it's like, if I find 1958 era, if I find stuff in that hi-fi era and play it on this thing, something does happen. Something happens that's kind of special. Like you say, that it was made for this. Like, this record was mastered to be played on this thing. And when you hear it like that, I don't know if it's better, but you hear it the way it was meant to, the way they imagined you would be listening to it. It's like, oh, okay. So I try to stick in that wedge, like in that era, late 50s, early 60s. So, that's the vinyl thing with me. So it's not everything. Yeah, I would never buy a new vinyl record. It's a digital file that they pressed up. Like, why? There's that joke or that meme. It's like, I'm into vinyl for the inconvenience.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I got my thing. I have my way that I like to do it. But I don't think that it's better or worse. It's just different. It would be better if I had my friend's system, but
without a doubt,
that's not likely going to happen. And then it never ends, and you got to treat the room and the whole thing. So
anyway. Now we do plan on releasing. So I was just in the car. I got here a little early, and I was reviewing some mixes that we have been recording over the past couple weeks.
Yeah,
and I got to mix the music, and then we're going to put the vocals down, hopefully on Friday.
Cool.
And a big thing for us was, let's come full circle. Let's put out a vinyl EP.
Why not?
It's collectability.
Yeah.
But that means that if from inception, if we have that considered, then we can master it with some more dynamic range.
Gotcha.
And I don't mean like gimmicky, like make it sound old school and crappy.
Yeah, but you can keep that in mind.
Yeah, we can actually do that, made specifically to be vinyl.
Hey, that's kind of cool.
Yep.
Yeah, like you say, that is full circle. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, cool. So you just put all that stuff up on, you're going to get a Discog. You got a Discog site.
Yep.
For all that stuff. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll talk. Dave sells vinyl here. He might be able to help you. I'm trying to figure out how to launch our vinyl thing. Because he's got a lot of vinyl here. We got to get the word out.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So what else? You said you have a million stories. Let's hear.
A million stories.
When was the not saying that, I don't want to say that there isn't a future, but like, when was the heyday? When was your heyday?
My heyday,
or whatever.
Well, memory is a funny thing like that.
Yeah.
Because like I recall It was about 25 years ago when I was still clinging on to the dream and living in the back of a 91 Chevy Cavalier in commuter parking lots, still going to band practice, making sure I'm getting to band practice.
Yeah.
And I look back on that really fondly now, like, wow, I felt so free. That was so wild. What great adventures.
Yeah.
All those parties I went to. Yeah, because I was looking for couches to sleep on. There was
yeah.
actually a lot of terror involved in it at the time.
Yeah.
There was plenty of that. There was weekend warrior tours where you take off on a Thursday and you get back late on a Monday morning and hope you don't hate the rest of your band.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there's a couple of those in there. I look back on it fondly. I've made up with almost all of those guys since then.
Yeah.
Shout out to Save Face.
Oh boy.
Yep. Once we played, was it Radio 104? They had a punk fest. They had a show called Spinning Unrest that was on Sunday nights.
Okay.
And they threw a punk fest at the Webster Theater in Hartford at the main stage. We were all amped up. It's probably the most people I've ever played to. It was probably like 1,100, 1,200 people there. And we were told we were headlining.
Oh boy.
That's always a phrase to watch out for if someone uses that term specifically.
How so?
At the end of the day, you're playing last.
Right.
On a Sunday.
Yeah, sure.
After the draw band.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so a couple.
But the draw band's not a headliner?
Let's be honest. Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
They were the headliner. But then we played after them because just how it ended up working out. And I was fine with that. It was still the most people I've ever played to in a room that big. And when you play to a big room, it doesn't matter if there's a couple hundred people there. It's going to feel empty. The sound, the acoustics are going to be all off because you're bouncing off of the floor. It's ridiculous.
Sure.
So still, I charged up on stage with even knowing all this, vim, vigor, and enthusiasm.
Sure.
But then the projector backdrop that was behind us was just the demo screen from the projector.
That could be a thing, though.
Yes, we're actually the Epsons. That's
yeah. What happened? They did this. Someone didn't.
Oh, we never worked with that promoter again.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't the end of the day. It wasn't the end of the band. It was just.
Yeah.
Some people get so when we started Mavigh Hysteria 20 years ago, my bassist and drummer had never played on stage before.
Wow.
So they were really excited and super enthusiastic. And my drummer at the time kept throwing around the term headlining and co-headlining. He liked to romanticize things.
Yeah,
quite
you're
a bit.
like, I've heard that before.
I'm like, we're playing last is what we're doing. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
As long as you're playing to a crowd. I've played to enough empty clubs in my day as well.
Yeah, sure.
It's a good time. I'm playing punk music. I view it like folk music. It's simple. It's accessible. It's more about the music or about the message,
sure,
in the artistry itself than it is about the virtuosity of it.
Sure.
You know?
Well, yeah.
Some people say, if you just practice more, you could play like Eddie Van Halen. I didn't want to play like Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
I'm more of a Kurt Cobain. I like to really lean in on the imperfection.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Someone once described my vocal style as desperate. I'm like, desperation. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Sure. Why not? Yeah. No, that's cool.
And like over the years, I never took any formal vocal training. I also never took a single bit of formal vocal advice. So what I would do to get that, scratchiness out of my voice, I would just clench my throat and then push with all I had.
Yeah, that's healthy.
A couple years of that, and my speaking voice started to disappear.
Oh boy!
And then every now and then I would lose my voice. And when it came back, it would be deeper. Notes would be missing in the middle. So I'd have to rewrite songs. I'm like, hey, you do the harmony for this one. I'm going to go down an octave and do what used to be the harmony.
Sure.
And so I started actually taking very basic, but formal advice about how to breathe, where to push from, where you're placing your voice. Is it coming from up here or coming from down here? And it made a pretty good difference. So I could do some nice singing, but not really what I'm looking to do.
Yeah.
I've got some feelings, and they come out in the form of screaming and often spitting at the microphone, which used to look really great in pictures, but ever since 2020, people back off from the stage when they see someone spitting onto the microphone.
Oh yeah, sure, I can imagine. Yeah, yeah. Well, what were some of your? Sorry, my segue. I don't have it together today. I'm just going to acknowledge that.
That's quite all right.
I am hearing everything that you're saying. I'm trying to process it. It's not you at all. It's me. I don't want to be like, yeah. So I'm just trying to put it together. What would you say? What were your original influences in starting to write stuff? Because not everybody writes.
That's a fantastic question.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like some people are just happy if they could figure out Freebird.
Yeah.
And,
Now, when it came time to put lyrics to paper, for a couple of years, I didn't have a point to my songs. I just wanted to put words together that sounded cool.
Yeah.
That did some kind of word tricks.
Sure.
And it was pretty bad. So then the next thing I practiced was, does it sound legit?
Meaning?
Yeah, it just doesn't sound not legit.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all. It's a very low bar, but it's an important one.
Yeah.
And then eventually I got into my later teens and politically activated, and suddenly now I've got some things to bitch about.
Sure.
And I have some artful ways to use my words in which to do so.
Sure.
And so I started writing songs and trying to sing songs probably when I was about 13, 14 when I played my first talent shows.
Sure.
There's a coffee bar, Nature's in West Hartford. Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't get chased out of there. I was just screaming with an acoustic guitar that I didn't even know how to play.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was the thing at the time.
Yeah.
And eventually it's just slowly morphed into a practice thing that I'm rather proud of, my lyrics.
Yeah.
Whether it's the content itself or just the wordplay. And I feel good and confident singing them on stage and even other people hearing them and understanding them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't always like that. Sometimes I would... stage fright. Stage fright's cool. I kind of miss it. It's excitement. I always looked at it. It's like it's anxiety, and anxiety is just excitement that you're not pointing in the right direction.
Okay.
And I'm sure it's still in there somewhere. If I happen to play a show where there's 5,000 people there,
Yeah.
I'd probably be a little in awe. And,
Sure.
I get those butterflies again, but our shows are pretty humble.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
And it's the local punk scene, I imagine a lot of them are inherently nihilistic.
Yeah.
So over the years, it went from I'm punker than you to, violent cliques and stuff like that. And over the past 30 years, I've been involved with it. Those people don't last. And the ones who do, we're left. It's a pretty cool, tight-knit community of just great people at this point.
Yeah, right.
It's
right.
Accepting, inclusive.
Yeah.
Not many people trying to prove themselves anymore.
Yeah. Just expression.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's no gatekeepy, not punk enough tests, which that used to be a thing. And
Oh, really? What does that mean?
well, are you wearing? Do you have the right patches? Are they the right bands?
Okay.
Do you know all the lyrics?
Yeah.
Can you name their entire catalog?
I gotcha.
Stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's like, oh, you listen to Blink-182, that doesn't count.
I see.
Like, I also listen to Beethoven. What are you going to do?
Yeah, right.
It's
Were
been
you punk enough? Were you punk enough or not?
No, I was
It
never
just
punk
depend
enough.
on
Yeah.
You never.
No.
According-
I'm just weird, and every now and then the weird I am just happens to converge at the same point.
I got you.
Common denominators.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, if you're punk enough, I'm dead.
Yeah.
How about that? I won.
You can't compete with that.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, all in all, just the music thing, it's throughout my life, it's been something that's always been there for me. It's a form of expression. It's a form of experimentation to the point where, like, once I was no longer in the 4-track and now I'm on the computer, I can manipulate the waveforms directly by hand if I wanted to.
Imagine that.
It's applied physics at that point.
That's heavy.
And I've made weird electronic music. I've made acoustic music. You can call it acoustic punk. You can call it crappy folk. I mean, I'm fine with both.
Yeah.
And what I love is how accessible all of this is nowadays. Like that first 4-track that I bought was a Tascam 424 Mark II. I think I paid like $5.99 for that in 1997. I had hacked together some other ways to do multi-track recording before that.
Sure.
Like having 2 VCRs and just bouncing one track back and forth.
Sure.
I had this weird sound card in my computer that could technically do it.
Wow.
And I still have those recordings, and they sound like they're 8-bit 22 kilohertz because they are.
Right.
But
right. Well, that's a sound.
yeah, but what I love is how accessible all of this is now. If you've got for $100, you can get a crappy laptop. $100, you can get an audio interface that does 24-bit, 96 kilohertz.
Right.
And for another $100, actually, I think they finally went up to 109. You can get yourself an SM58 or an SM57, and you're good to go.
Yeah, yeah.
You can multi-track the rest of it. You can just record an open room.
Sure.
You can mix it in the box. There's free software to do. There's free plugins. There's free everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's very cool. I do think it's probably also overwhelming for young folks.
Yeah.
Because it's so much more. When I was that age, you had a price range and there's only 4 options.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you have to have an entire world of knowledge, or at least that one cool dude who happens to know what's going on. I guess that's the modern version of the guy who knows the cool bands from high school.
Yeah, right. He knows how to work the plug-in.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that happens. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. Yeah, I similar journeys, I guess. Same kind of thing. Yeah, cassette 4-track. Then I had an ADAT.
Ooh.
Oh boy, that was big time. Yeah, that was big time.
Yeah, I never got to the ADAT. There was a period in the 90s where I traded someone something. Lots of trading back then.
Yeah.
And I got a DCC, a digital cassette.
Oh, I don't even remember those.
It was just a digital cassette. I'm like, I can master onto this. And I find out I could have saved myself a couple $100 worth of trades and just used a hi-fi VCR.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, that's pretty much all that was. Come to find out. Yeah, the hi-fi VCR. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, why not? Why not? Bouncing back and forth. Yeah, that was what I used to do. Fill up an ADAT and then mix it down to a DAT stereo and then bounce it back. And so, right back
Free
to
up
where you
another
started.
6 tracks.
Yeah, right back to where you started, but it was digital at least, so you weren't piling up noise, I guess. But that was the theory.
Yeah. What I did like about those times though is that if you had the creativity to solve a problem,
Yeah.
you could do it in weird ways. Like my very first mixer, it was just a VHS tape case that I melted holes in. I took some pieces out of junk guitars I had and I put 1/4-inch jacks into them, wired them up.
Right.
In series, not understanding what that was going to do to the impedance, but I'm like, how come every time I plug in this mic, this one sounds weird?
Yeah.
But I tried all of that stuff. Then I got into fancy rack mount equipment, and I'm not really one for effects processors, really.
Yeah.
A couple tricks here and there when it comes to mixing.
Yep.
But I'm not a pedal board guy. I
No.
think it's cool, and
Yeah.
people who can work it effectively, I think that's awesome. That's an artistry all in and of itself.
Yeah. But not your thing.
Yeah, I don't even have a foot pedal for the distortion.
I was gonna say just a boost, but not even.
I have a volume knob, and hopefully it's not scratchy.
Hey.
It's probably scratchy.
Yeah. On the Mako.
Loopers are big now.
What?
Loopers.
Yeah, loopers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some amazing looper acts out there who can.
Yeah.
Was it that one comedian, Reggie Watts?
Oh yeah.
He
Sure.
does some pretty crazy stuff with a looper.
Sure.
I've seen drummers replaced by loopers.
Yeah.
Not particularly well, but they were.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I never really fooled around with a looper too much. Although I've fooled around with people who don't understand. I've played with people who, they loop their thing, but they don't realize like it's cool. But if you didn't put your foot down right on the nugget, now you have a lopsided loop, and of course, I have perfect time.
Yeah.
So once I start playing drums, I'm not going to follow your loop. And then it goes sideways. And, of course, it's always the drummer's fault. And it's just kind of like, well, but, bro, your loop isn't perfect.
And does the loop start and end as soon as you hit the switch, or at the bottom of the switch,
I
or
don't know.
when the switch returns? Because I've seen all three.
I don't know. But sometimes. But it's like it turns into blame the drummer. It's
Yeah.
just like, well, look, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, so that's the extent of my experience with looping.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love a cool toy. I'll screw around with it. I'll enjoy
yeah,
screwing around with
sure,
it. Am I actually going to find a way to work it into a performance? Probably not.
Yeah. I was never a big a prolific writer, but it would always be a piece of gear or a new instrument or something that I would get a song or two out of while I was trying to figure something out. And then I stopped getting stuff.
Yeah.
So the song stopped, kind of. But, who cares? I mean, the world's not dying to hear anything. When you say the dream, what was the dream? Or who knows?
Well, the dream, I mean, as it originally started off, was to be a rock star, man.
Sure.
Let's be a goddamn rock star.
Meaning throw shit out the window.
Oh, absolutely.
Be high.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But what the dream evolved into, pretty
I'll
rapid.
throw something. You want to throw something out the window? We could do that. We could probably do that. Yeah.
Dave's really into this idea.
If we wanted to, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but eventually, by the time I was like 19, I started to become more realistic. I'm like, if I can just pay my bills playing music, that would be the dream.
Yeah. I wonder what that's like.
Yeah. I mean, I have been paid plenty of times over the years. Not a, and my band gets paid pretty damn good now. Well, compared to when I was a teenager, but
sure.
$300 at this point is gas for the van.
Yeah.
We got to get some new T-shirts.
Yeah.
We got to pay our bar tab.
Yeah.
So at that point,
yeah.
it's that's living the dream. Is it self-sufficient?
So who was the rock star? David Bowie? Who was the rock star? Who's the rock star?
The rock star.
Yeah, that you were like, that would be the thing.
I can't really say that I have the rock star. That's just more of a class. This is definitely from influence from my dad, who just loved a good rock star.
Yeah.
And it's anyone who is larger than life.
Sure.
And
doesn't know what day it is, doesn't care.
Yeah, he could. He could,
okay.
But it's just someone who's larger than life, someone who projects themselves when they're, in performance mode, when they're on the stage. They command attention and probably going to act a little bit absurd, but that's because they're allowed to get away with it because they're the rock star.
Sure.
I would love that kind of permission.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, that is interesting. Yeah, I don't know who, what would be some of the ones.
Let's see. Fat Mike, the lead singer and bassist of NoFX.
Sure.
I think he's kind of a jack personally, but some of the lyrics that he writes are fantastic, and some of the absurd things that they have done. They used to have this reality TV show called Backstage Passport that shows some of their antics on the road, and it's ridiculous even knowing what Jimi Hendrix and The Doors and Kurt Cobain and all of those guys did. It's still pretty ridiculous, and somehow they're still alive.
Yeah, I was going to say all those people are dead.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain, more on the artsy side of things, where every single thing he did is open to interpretation. Did he mean it this way? Did he mean it that way?
Sure.
I did take a lot of my lyrical ambiguity cues from a lot of his writing, where it's kind of just about the interesting wordplay and maybe even turning the idea that someone listening to the song might think they have on its ear entirely in the next line.
Oh, cool.
Some mystery, some well-written mystery. It doesn't even have to mean anything. Does it sound cool? Good enough for me.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, the ideal rock star. That's a tough one because then you have like the Marilyn Manson, Screaming Jay Hawkins, Alice Cooper's. That's way beyond my pay grade or even desire, but I also appreciate it. Putting on a show of that scale or to the point where you're terrifying people in the audience is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Sorry, again, I'm trying to put a thought together. I'm just being honest. You've never heard the show.
I've never heard the show.
Okay.
And I did think when I got, when I heard from Dave last week, he asked if I wanted to be on, I'm like, I should go listen to the show. See what we're doing here.
You don't have to listen to the show, so you don't know.
I'm going to ex post facto. I wanted to come to this fresh and have no idea.
All right, well then that's good though, because then these will be real questions. I usually ask kind of wrap up kind of questions.
All right.
Well, first of all, is there anything we didn't talk about that you want to talk about? I don't feel I did a good.
Oh, you did a fine job.
Really?
I'm sure there's something that I mentally ran through just when coming up with a little, my hit list.
Well, here's what I say. This is my new thing. I say to people, it's a visualization exercise. Picture yourself driving home now after this and going, I forgot. Okay, here you are. We don't have many opportunities in life to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it'll probably be when I'm in the shower later.
Well, picture yourself in that shower.
Yeah.
and go, oh man, I forgot to thank somebody or whatever. Think about it now.
I'm a blank for that.
Okay.
I when a moment passes me by, I try to not mentally grind myself down about it, because more moments will come, and made of that moment what we will.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Yeah. I want to give you the opportunity.
I'll post it in the comments.
Yeah, definitely. So my wrap-up questions are more or less 5 favorite albums, if you could, that would help to sum up yourself for us.
Okay. I'm going to start this off with a near and dear personal favorite. You don't often come up with a new favorite band much later in life, you know, in your late 30s or 40s, but the World Inferno Friendship Society. They are a Brooklyn punk cabaret act that put on an absolutely incredible show. And unfortunately, Jack Terrycloth, the lead singer, left us a couple of years ago.
Oh boy.
And there's no way to replace him in that act.
Okay.
But the anarchy and the ecstasy, and I would say that's probably tied with This Packed Funeral. 2 amazing albums. If you've never heard them, check them out.
Yeah, okay.
It's when you hear the label punk attached, you won't expect what's coming. Definitely check that out.
Okay.
See, there's some it's Nirvana's Nevermind. Without a doubt, it's on way too many people my age's list, but it really did shake things up quite a bit.
Yeah,
I can't listen to it anymore.
Really?
It's still too wound up in all that teenage angsty stuff that I've grown out of. Now I'm just normal adult angry.
Yeah. Which is,
okay, so
this latte sucks. Or whatever it is.
This is incredibly difficult. I hate lists. I hate ranking things that are my favorite, but I'm here to play ball.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just like in case somebody wants to understand, so that you can feel understood a little bit.
Let's see. No Effects. I heard they suck live.
Okay, sure.
Because they influenced how I approach playing live, where perfection isn't even in the top 5 things we're trying to pull off.
Sure.
One of my favorite things about playing is when something goes wrong, and because I'm stuck in a microphone with the guitar, I can't dance around. I can't do all the cool things that just a singer or just guitarist can do. And there's only 3 of us, so I don't really have much to fall back on. And let's say my guitar strap falls off.
Yeah.
I'm really good at standing on one leg, and crowds love that for some reason. They go wild for I finish off a song on just one leg.
Why not?
My drummer, I swear he greases his drumsticks. They just go flying out of his hand frequently, but every now and then, if you can grab one and toss it back at him, something like that.
Yeah.
And I Heard They Suck Live is full of imperfections, miserable imperfections. That guy's voice is grating. When I first heard them, I thought, wow, is this Pee Wee Herman in a metal band? And that's fantastic and influential one for me. Oh, boy. Sorry. We're up to 3.
Well, don't hurt yourself.
I'll stick with that. That's a good 3. 3 is my lucky number.
Yeah, I think that works. That kind of works. Favorite food, something you could eat every day. That when you're eating it, you go, this is good. I'm good. Like, if I had to eat this every day.
Sushi or pho. One of the 2. I can't pick.
Okay.
I go back and forth in my mind about this all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. When did that start?
The first time I had either.
Oh, yeah?
I became hopelessly obsessed with either, and a very good, simple sushi. None of that fancy stuff covered in sauces.
Yeah.
I prefer the nori to be on the outside.
Okay.
And even just cucumber. Doesn't even have to be fish. Fantastic.
Wow, cool. That's cool. Yeah, I get with that. Is there a particular show or concert that you saw that springs to mind that changed everything instantly?
I don't think so.
Wow.
I mean, I did get to see Nirvana.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And that was an awesome show, and my expectations were destroyed.
Wow.
Because you hear the albums, you see the music videos, you see this larger-than-life rock star thing.
Where was it?
It was at the Springfield Civic Center. I believe it was Wednesday, the 10th of November, 1993.
Wow.
And I was like, what, 13, 14 years old. Sure. So I was super amped up to see the biggest band in the world, my favorite band at the time. And then when I got there, the sound that they had was nothing like the finely polished album or 2 albums I've been listening to.
Yeah.
He played through a tiny little miniature red Marshall stack.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That was mic'd up and put into the larger PA.
Yeah, sure.
And they were so on time. Their timing was so perfect that it felt slow, because in the energy of a show, bands usually speed up.
Oh,
Everyone's
wow.
sped up, with the excitement going on. It's in the air. And they were so perfectly paced that it felt slow.
Wow.
And it was just so raw. It was absolutely raw. It didn't really change anything, but that's one that really sticks out. And I prefer that kind of experience, either subversion of expectations or the genuine article, the least amount of polish, down to its core. Because when you listen to a CD and you see it, it's the same live. It's like, excellent job, but
Yeah.
I was here for the human element of it. I can listen to that CD whenever the hell I want.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's interesting. I saw. Actually, I realized how lucky we were. My wife is kind of the hardcore fan. I'm cool with it. But we saw Rage Against the Machine at Madison Square Garden. Within the last few years, they came out. Zach hurt himself, did a few more shows, hurt, and then they pulled the plug forever. And we actually saw it. Bought the tickets before COVID. They kept getting moved, and we actually saw it. And that's what they did. They were at Madison Square Garden, and it was like, Tom Morello had a cabinet with a mic in front of it, and it was all just there to see. Like, there was no show, which was beautiful. I mean, I thought it was cool. But it was like, everything was there. There was nothing, no backdrop, nothing. It was just like, and I thought that was cool. Just small cabinet.
And that's boiled down to the essence. That's where they started.
Yeah.
That's where most of us exist.
Yeah.
Just the instruments and the musicians.
Yeah. No, it was cool. I kind of dug it. I was like, yeah, this is cool, Because, I mean, it's not like you would expect a whole lot more, but you never know what bands are going to do.
Yeah.
You're going to go, okay, we're big time now. Now we bring in the backup singers. Now we're doing the thing. And it's just like, no, they just are doing the thing. It's kind of cool. All right, we can get out of here if we want.
All right.
Do we want to?
I'm good to keep rolling.
You want to break something?
I mean, typically, but it's so much nice stuff in here.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it is. It's too nice. Too nice in here. We got to break something. What can we break? We can't break anything.
All right, I got a question for you then.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to a musical instrument,
Sure.
You said you're a drummer. Do you play other instruments?
Sure.
Okay. When you go to buy a new one of those instruments,
Which I never have in my life. Never bought anything new ever.
I don't mean brand new, but
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
Another one.
Okay, yep.
What strikes you? What's the thing like, ooh, that one about it?
Well, it depends what you mean. All right. With drums, I always stumble on something. I never look for anything. Somebody like, hey man, come pick these up. They were at my rehearsal space, and there'll be something cool, and I'll play them for a while. Like, I don't care what I play, almost at all. So nothing, except lately I've been in the situations I'm in. I've decided that I'm a Ludwig Peisty guy because I want to return to rock. So if something is vintage Ludwig or, Peisty cymbals, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Or if something is historic or something I don't have. But when it comes to bass, which is the other instrument I play not well, I'm lefty upside down. So I have I just have symmetrical basses. I have like a double cutaway that looks like an SG. I have a Hofner that looks like, Paul McCartney, Epiphone, anything that's symmetrical. I have a Thunderbird that's supposed to look flipped when you play it right side up, but I play it flipped.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's supposed to. So I just look for basses. I look for symmetry. And drums, whatever. I have enough. I got 3 drum kits. I have small, medium, and large, and I'm done.
All right. Well, I got a BC Rich Warlock that would probably also fit that bill.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a nice one with the evil headstock, not the cheap one.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
That just hangs on the wall. Otherwise, I play a Mitchell I got scratch and dent at Guitar Center. It's got active pickups at $79.
Yeah. I never cared about gear. I mean, I pretend to care about gear now because I'm supposed to. but I don't really care.
Well, I like knowing about gear. I like knowing about the different kinds of pickups.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
the things you can do with them.
Yeah, yeah. I love guitar. Like I like guitar. I know more about guitars than drums. Like I have more books of guitars and guitar history.
Yeah.
I love guitars, but drums I don't care about.
Yeah, my guitars are typically the cheapest thing that you can find.
Yeah, right.
Either I find it's hilarious, ridiculous, and I don't like having nice gear because you have to take care of nice gear.
Yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
you have to worry about nice gear.
Yeah.
When I'm at a show, I don't want my baby to be in this expensive case. That case for someone's baby is more expensive than any instrument I've ever owned.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to worry about it getting stolen out of the van. I don't want to worry about dropping it.
Yeah, yeah.
And every now and then, maybe we're playing guitar battle axes on stage, and it's the right move. And you're not going to want to do that with your Les Paul Standard.
No, I never cared either. I just realized like I'm in a band now that it almost kind of matters what the gear looks like. And I still have cymbal stands that have duct tape on them. Like I didn't realize that till someone took a picture of the gig, and I'm like, dude, just buy all new stands. And I just can't do it. Can't do it in my head.
If it works, it works. And I'm happy with that.
So. Yeah, it makes the cymbal be not on the ground.
Yeah,
that's about the extent of it. Other than that, I tend not to notice. And I'm like, oh yeah, that stand looks terrible. I didn't even notice till I saw a picture of it. But whatever. It's a weird thing, but I don't know. Does that answers the question, right?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. We're gonna get out of here. Sorry, I was not on my A game today, but that's okay.
And I drank way too much coffee in the car before coming here.
Oh,
so
okay.
I could keep going, but
well,
I won't hold you to it.
If you do, Dave will have to take over because I'm all done. All right. Anyway, Dan, Eurysm. You get it? I didn't get it at first. That's how out of it I am. Dan Eurysm. I don't know if we'll ever know his real name. I don't want to know. How about that? How about I don't want to know? So I'm not going to know. We'll leave it at that. Is that cool?
That's fine.
Where are you playing next? Do you want to tell us? Or
let's see. My drummer is a teacher, so he just disappears somewhere into the middle of America for a couple months. I believe we have some shows that we're booking in August and in September, but I have nothing definite to share.
All right.
But you can check us out on Instagram or Maix Hysteria, also on Facebook if you want to be completely let down by my inability to remember to post there. But Instagram's where it's all at.
Okay.
That'll have all our show updates and links to any music that we do have.
Okay, cool. All right. Dan Eurysm, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. Come back someday if and when you have more stories. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. All right, I'm going to press the button. You ready? Are you ready for the button?
Never.
Perfect. Back where we started. John Peckman Podcast, Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge, go through one set of lights, pull a Yui, park in front of the music store at the red neon light. Dan Eurysm, guitar player, singer, writer. He was here. You were here.
I was here.
He was definitely here. All right, kids. Thank you. Take care. Drive safe. Drive safe out there, wherever you're going.
Kids.
Yeah, drive safe, kids. All right, that is all.
If you'd like to start your own podcast, give us a call at Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Our professionally designed podcast space is here for all your recording needs. Rent out our studio to do interviews with up to 4 people, to record audiobooks, social media content, and all other recorded material. Our rentals include a private studio along with our professional-grade podcasting equipment, and we can customize your output to whatever your needs are. We also have green screen capabilities, which will expand to video capability if you so wish. So check us out here at convalley.net/podcast.